So, what's new for everyone? What's that?
Airplane, I guess. So one thing that's new with me is I'm now horribly confused.
Well, is that new?
No, it's not. But today's confusion is rows, columns, courses. Huh?
Yeah.
It's actually the definition. I wrote it down on the wiki. I don't know if you read that in the,
maybe not
in the key group documentation. Let me just. The thing though is, we've been discussing this, and even internally we look at rows and columns differently.
well, that's not really what I'm on about. What I'm on about is a column and a course the same thing?
No.
Or is a row and a course the same thing?
No, hang on.
Okay. I would have thought that.
No. Let me just. So if you go to. We don't. Yes, we have chat here. If you go to the wiki documentation for 2.0 and the key group section. And then you scroll down, and then it talks about, where is that? Physical and musical mapping and key position nomenclature. So what's new? Something that's new in 2.0 is that there is a difference between physical keys and musical keys. This is just a name. The basic principle is that those are two different coordinate spaces that behave independently.
Sure.
So the reason for that is that the way you lay out the divisions of your keyboard for playing, which is the musical mapping, is totally different, or can be totally different from the ones that is used to control your Eigenharp. So anything that is control keys, like setting volume, changing octaves and stuff like that, would be typically tied to the physical coordinates, while anything that is like the scaler or the arranger would be tied to the musical coordinates. Meaning that if you have a different preference in laying out your keyboard for playing, you can lay it out differently without actually changing the positions of any of those configuration keys.
Yep,
right?
Yep, understood that.
So since you've got those two different positions, they both have two axes, an X and a Y axis. And the nomenclature is basically that for the physical positioning, it's row and column. And for the musical positioning, it's course and key.
Okay, and the courses and keys, the course is a vertical row. Is that true?
There can be anything. A course is basically, a course is like a string on a guitar, right? It's a series of notes that you think belong together in a, in like a determined section.
So the fingerer uses the physical layout?
I don't know. Actually, I haven't had time. I've been hacking away on lights.
Yeah. Okay. I'll just go play.
I haven't actually tried the fingerer yet. I was gonna do during this weekend, and then I got in a total craze about.
My guess is the fingerer would be using the physical layout, because you're talking about the equivalence of keys on a clarinet that don't change depending on what scale you're in, or keys.
I'd be inclined that it would be the musical one, because
it's in front of the scaler.
Yeah.
Yes, but that So I think that's probably the musical one. Just as the stringer, which sits also in front of the scaler, and when you play a cello and you use a stringer, it will also only play one key on a course. The stringer also uses the musical one, because it is related to what you musically play. And if you change that, because you, for example, let's say that you use a fingerer in a layout that would be 2 by 8 down, right? Could be that someone else wants to have the finger going opposite, like going from down to up instead from up to down, or or slanted 90 degrees while he's still playing music with that. The idea of the musical mapping is making it possible for someone to use a setup and rearrange the musical mapping without having to change all the control and configuration keys, which is one of the problems that people complained a lot about in EigenD 1, is once you selected new keys in choose mode in your key group, basically the positions of all your talkers changed also, because there was only one mapping.
Yeah, it's funny because in the fall when we were talking about that problem, or Geert, you were introducing it, I guess it didn't. The other implications didn't occur to me. Like we talked about it in terms of, oh, this is good because all the talkers will stay in the same place and they're independent.
Yes,
makes sense. But it's a broader thing than that, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So that's interesting. Well, I'll go away today and try the fingerer, and I've been playing with your Alpha 1. It's not. It works. It doesn't seem to work all that long.
Really?
Well, I may have. I mean, maybe I screwed it up. But the key group mode key either is really slow at lighting up all the talkers, or it needs to be pressed a couple of times.
There's one thing that we changed compared to EigenD 1 is that there is a threshold for anything that is talkers and mode key and whatnot. And there is a light and a soft press. I can't remember now if we did it for mode, but I think we did. That it only reacts when there is a hard press, so that it would be a definite decision. I want to change mode so that you can't accidentally brush it.
Yeah, it was a good idea. Well, I was pretty much whacking it, and I'll send you something separately.
Yes, but I've seen your bug reports about it, so so I'll take a look at it tomorrow, see what it might be.
But it was nice to get all the tonics lit up and be playing piano tech and happily doing that. I was having a great time.
But you mean apart from the mode key, it didn't crash on you or something? Because you said it only works for a short amount of time. We know that there is a problem when you reload setups. There's something there that isn't really going right.
I had that problem.
Yes,
and but I did no. If you just start it and play, it's fine.
Okay. Apart from your mode key thing.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's a relief because it's been fine for me, and I was a little bit worried. Oh, if he says it only works for a short amount of time, then.
Well, that's because I keep doing things that disturb it. It doesn't mean you're doing anything wrong. Remember, it's designed to be breakable?
Yes, it is. Yes, which is a cool thing about it.
But I was delighted to find where to hook up the lights in the Alpha 1 setup. Because it's quite hidden down in that key group, right? Yeah, it is basically. Well, if you look at the key group is like a multi-way switch with several outputs, and the outputs basically have the input for the lights that go back. So the key presses go down, and the lights have to come back. So you have to select through which output it has to come back into the key group. Yes. Yes, I'll just give me 1 second. I'll be right back. Sure. Anyway, sorry to make myself the butt of humor there, but I really like Geert's chandelier. Yeah.
Somebody commented on that on one of the, I think it was Larry commented on that in one of the clubhouses that I had to write up the notes for way back when. I think it was the first one or two. It's pretty funky.
Sorry about that. It's carnival here. The traditional carnival in a town called Banch, and it kind of spreads out through all the surrounding cities, and it's time for teenagers to go and party. So she's off going to party. It's amazing. They get off from school for that.
Wow.
Yeah, it's like, it really is the thing, right? So they get 2 days off of school for that.
And we're on the come
down this year.
Our national holiday. It was St. Patrick's Day on Saturday, so we
yes,
have a nice tradition here where if it's a public holiday and it falls on a weekend, the following Monday becomes a national holiday as well.
Yes, that's the same here.
Yeah.
We were enjoying our coal cannon and stew.
Oh, yeah. I like coal cannon. Can I ask one of the things I was trying to do was hook up an additional effects audio unit inline in the drummer rig, and I got on okay for a while until I started to try and figure out how to wire the parameters in. And if you create a new audio unit under the parameters kind of sub tree, it creates with parameters 1 through 32. But if I compare it with the one that's already in existence in the rig, it has a bunch of kind of name parameters for the various outputs.
You can just use the edit tool and click on the parameter name
right,
and name
just
it.
simply rename them?
Yes, basically you don't have to name them. It's just for you so that it's easy to see in the routing matrix. So the basic idea is that you can take a wire that comes from anywhere and connect it to one of the parameters, and then it will be connected to the routing matrix. And if you want to have an aid to understand what is going on in the parameter matrix, and you can just change the name to whatever you want to have appear in the parameter in the routing matrix.
Okay. So I could route something like the sine oscillator into one of the an audio unit.
Yeah, anything. Cool. Yeah. So this is what I've been doing this weekend while I was supposed to do something else.
Okay. Dying to see it.
Can't quite make it out.
Oh, is it reversed for you guys? That's Google. Yeah, Google Plus reversing the image, right? It's scrolling that way.
It's scrolling as I look at it from my right to left. So it seems to be scrolling the right way to read it, but I can't quite make out what it.
No, where is this going, man? Seems to be stalled somewhere. See if you can restart it. Basically, what I did was first thing that I did was making the lights controllable over through a web server, so with HTTP. So you can just send a bitmap to EigenD, and it will show a bitmap on your screen, not your screen, on your Alpha. And so you can have any image display on your Eigenharp. And then the next step which is something that I've been wanting to do ever since I got the Alpha, was to be able to display scrolling text on it, and more specifically, actually tweets that come in through Twitter, and that then appear scrolling on the Eigenharp while I'm playing. So that works.
Now that's audience interaction.
Yes.
You may want to put a filter on that text.
I know. I was thinking about that. I probably need someone that filters that out.
I've been to conferences where they've live streamed the Twitter feeds, and you get all sorts.
There's been something going on with my network for this whole weekend. I don't know what it is. Even my local network. Even in my machine, sometimes I get just the Finder not reacting anymore. Okay, let's try this again. Oh, so stupid. Easy mistake. So.
There we go.
So I can play on the keyboard. And so I've got also, I can switch those scrolling. So now I've got the tonic indicators. But I can just switch this to become scrolling text.
Okay, but doesn't that do something to your head to play with that going by?
Well, if you're not looking at the keys, I guess it doesn't.
Yeah, I suppose. Glance down and all is lost.
And if I disable the instrument, then it disables the text also, because basically there is no output active. So.
I like it.
It's fun to switch on live, I'm sure.
So just need network connectivity. If I take a little distance, and it gets easier to see because the lights kind of blend in together.
Yeah, that looks better. Yes.
Well,
if you take a distance, and I'm basically on stage, I did some tests with it. If you stand 3 meters away, then it starts to become very readable. That was you.
Okay, I saw my tweet.
Yes. Never know where your tweet's going to show up now.
Yeah. No saying where the boundaries are.
It might be viewed by hundreds and hundreds of people all of a sudden.
So
that's really neat.
So you can do anything with it. You can basically also just put some text on it that stays static if you want to display it. And there's also a mode that you can use as choose mode, like the key group choose mode on this new agent called Illuminator, where you can basically draw the patterns that you want to have lit up, and it will remember it. So you can kind of create patterns on your Eigenharp. Let me show you this.
New revenue streams. Display your ads on your Eigenharp.
Yes. Yeah. So, of course, the hang drum thing I've now done with that. It's not with the talkers, but it's basically just the Illuminator agent where I selected these. But another nice one here is my guitar setup, where this first column is basically the open fret. So I colored those red so that I just remember that just one off. And at the bottom, I call it the percussion keys also. So these are the ones that strum individual strings, the red ones, and then different articulations for the whole strum. So you can do really neat stuff with the lights now. And you can control them with talkers and the whole thing. So I'm curious to see what people will start doing with this.
That's a really good idea, though. That guitar setup of yours was the orange tree one?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I have a terrible time remembering which are the strum keys and which are the articulations, and that would just solve the problem.
Yes, it's the same problem that I had. And so it's very easy to do. You basically just, let me share this. Screen share. You basically just have here I've got an Illuminator agent. That's my text Illuminator, which is receiving. So there's a port that's called server port. If you set this to something, then it will start up a built-in HTTP server that listens on that port, and then you can send messages to it. And if you set it to nothing, it will do nothing. But then, if you don't want to have it being controlled, then you can just create. So this is the acoustic guitar Illuminator. And let me see if I can share this pop-up. Well, you basically have a mapping here that you set, so you give the position again and the color, and that's it. So either you edit this here, or you put it into choose mode and then select the keys that you want, and it will update it there. This is, let me just see if I can show this text Illuminator. So this is the one that's getting the tweets. So you can see it on the fly, changing all the coordinates and colors that are being displayed. So this is going on from Twitter. Anyway, I couldn't resist doing this weekend.
Well, thanks.
Right.
Thank you.
I've been wanting to have this for so long, and I really needed a break from building setups, because after 2 weeks of dragging wires around, you're like, I want to do something else.
I don't know how you did that, even for Alpha 1. I mean, I was showing it off. It's just so dense and complex, right?
Yes, takes a while.
So next week is Alpha 3.
No, Alpha 3. I told John that we should wait for Alpha 2 and Alpha 3 to make sure that all the bugs are ironed out, and that I can start with something that's quite stable before having to make all changes to all setups all the time, because this is already something that I had to do a couple of times now between the Tau and the Alpha setup. So I figured out I forgot something, and then I have to do it all over the place. Someone's hitting the keyboard really hard. I don't know who that is.
Me.
Is that you, Dragica?
Sorry, me.
Yeah, okay. We can hear that really loud.
Guilty.
Sorry, I thought I muted the mic.
Another question on the wiring. Do you have to drag from start to finish, or from
No.
point to point? I'm wondering, can you select the first point and select the last?
You have to drag, but you can stop in the middle if you want to, and you can also drag from end to start if you want to.
Yeah. No, I figured that. No, I was trying to change some of the wirings yesterday, and my mouse isn't very sensitive, but I ended up sort of trying to route it through the trunking, and not getting it in the right kind of node on the trunk, and not being able to subsequently move it.
Have you seen this? So you can start dragging and then just leave it there.
Yeah.
And then you can go to the move tool, and with the move tool, move it around. So you don't. So you kind of get an option of not going there immediately. So then, you know about the space bar allowing you to move temporarily, and then there's one thing that I personally didn't know about either.
Yeah, I didn't know about the space bar. That's really useful.
So it puts you into temporary move mode. There's a couple of other shortcuts. Actually, a good idea is to read the tooltips at the top for each tool, because it kind of gives you additional information about how to use it. For example, and I'm going to be screwing up my setup now. Let me add something just here. Just add a key group and the talker that I can remove without messing with the rest. So just create an output. Okay. So if I now wire this. So something else. If you have the pointer tool selected, then you can click on something and it will highlight only the parts that are connected to it. I don't know if you've seen that. It's really useful to explore things. Now, let's say you've connected this up, so I'm in the wire tool, but you say, for example, I want this wire to go elsewhere. Then you can let me just press Command key to disconnect it. So you can disconnect the wire, and then afterwards move it again and move it elsewhere, so you can reconnect it. Right. Another thing is, let's say that you accidentally put it into the trunk. You didn't want to do that, right? Then you can go to the delete tool and press Shift Delete on it, and it will ask you to remove it from all trunks and hooks, which is also quite useful.
That's handy.
Yes. Something else maybe you don't know about is If you use the edit tool and you click on a wire, then you get an edit box to edit the properties of that wire, where you can actually select the channel that it's going into or that it's being filtered from. So that's another part that's not really obvious. It's basically the same as going in here. So each port where a wire is connected into can have multiple channels. So if I think we talked about that, Mike. About my factory setup. So if you go, for example, in the scaler here, in my factory setup, you can see the controller input here has all these channels, basically corresponding to the instruments in my setup. And this is then the same. If you click on this wire with the edit tool, then you will see channel 1. So that's another interesting thing to know about. There is something else that's also a little bit hidden. So let's say I've got this here. Let's say that I want to create a straight connection between these two without having this wire hanging down all the way down here. Then I can, for example, create 2 hooks. If I click on a hook again, it becomes squared. And then you can take the wire and hook it into those 2 hooks, and it will become a straight line in between. So that's...
yeah, I think I saw that with the...
And I think those are about the shortcuts. I think that's it.
Okay, I have a completely different question.
Yeah.
How does this get dreamed up? I mean, those are really neat things, but somebody actually had to think about them, right?
Well, while using it, we said, God, I can't delete this from the trunk. or things like that. It's basically always driven by some kind of frustration somewhere, I think. And I think they need probably better documentation, but we're still working on the Workbench docs. But the tooltips should tell you. Actually, the delete toolkit doesn't say that shift delete. Okay, the wire disconnect is shown. Yes. And so we also have these shortcuts now to change tools. I suppose that you saw those. So Command D for delete, Command E for edit, A for add, W for wiring. They're also shown in the tooltips.
Yeah, I guess that means I could set that up in my Euphonix control thing.
Yes.
Do you have the mix or the control? Euphonix.
I've got the mix.
Okay. I have the control, and it's great because you get a whole touchscreen full of like what you're talking about, but it labels them, right?
Yes. Yes. But I've heard people.
So I'll have to set that up for.
Complain about the control quite a bit, actually, about the screen going bad very quickly and being flaky.
Mine's been great.
Yeah. Okay. But I don't use the mix that much. Actually, I realize that doesn't suit my workflow that much.
No, I use the control screen all the time, and the mix sometimes.
Yes. But I guess as a programmer, I'm so used to keeping my hands on the keyboard and just using shortcuts and. So, this week is going to be MusikMesse again.
Yeah.
Looking forward to that. Can't believe it's been a year.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like it.
No, so I was thinking back at how I was going there last year, and I was kind of scared, and I didn't know what to expect from actually the software and meeting people, and if I was going to be able to do this correctly on stage with something that was still quite new to me, and now to me it's like a totally different experience because I'm going there and I I know how good it is in all its aspects. I also know the wards. It's not like this black box that I'm a bit scared of, which is quite nice.
So it'll be much more fun.
Yes, definitely. And also I built my own setup now that does everything that I want and that loads in 5 seconds. So that's a huge difference from having to do something to someone and having to wait for a minute before the setup loads. It's like, well, it's coming. It's like, be a bit patient. Remember that, Rafica? She was there.
Yeah.
Yeah, what did you call it? Dancing on the head of what? Was that your expression from your speech that you did?
Yeah, dancing on the edge of the volcano.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's...
So have you guys been trying out Finger?
Sure. Have
you found some cool stuff to do with it, or?
Just playing with it at this stage. Just trying to. I've never played Tin Whistle before, despite living in Ireland. So try and learn some of the fingerings. I think it'll give my Pico a lease of new life. I did try changing the wiring though, and replacing the clarinet oscillator with an audio unit, and I got some strange behavior with that. I saw there was something about that on the Fingerer thread, but I haven't got around to reading it in detail.
Right. Yeah, something about the drone sound, right, or something like that.
Yeah, essentially, if you once you let go of the keyboard, you still end up with, with a note sounding.
My Pico's on loan, which is to say, my son arrived, thought it was neat, and it's now gone. It'll come back, I'm sure. So I, as you heard, tried it on the Alpha. I've got to figure out a layout on the Alpha that's comfortable to play, because the breath pipe comes out at 90 degrees instead of out of the top. So it's bizarre. It's like, holding the saxophone out sideways. But now that with the discussion earlier, I think I'll try a few layouts today of keys for the Alpha.
Right.
What I actually think I want to do, and my question is, any suggestions on this? What I think I want to do is take course 5, like the one that you would play with your left hand, if you were, I guess it's the bottom one, if you're wearing it on the harness, the high string of a guitar, and actually just set that up as 24 notes. That's easy, but I can play it with the left hand, and then I want to take the 4 other courses in column form. The columns go across the thing, right? And set them up as chords. So if, for example, say the first row would be 3rd, 5th, 7th, and 9th, maybe. So if you hold that down, or you can play that, So I'm thinking you play the chords with your right hand, you play the note with your left.
Yes.
So you basically have roots and chords all the way down the machine.
So setting that up shouldn't be, well, I haven't played around with Finger yet, but knowing a bit from how it's been configured, you should basically just be able to put key group in choose mode, choose course 1. I don't know if you've done that yet, if you've seen the difference between the different choose modes. So if you go to key group, let me share that. I'll have to share a few dialogues, one after the other again. So if you're in key group, then somewhere here you've got the physical map and musical map. If you click on musical map, right? Let me share that again. Musical map. So if you click on musical map, then at the bottom you've got course number. So and you can press choose using key group, and then it will put the keyboard. Then it will put the keyboard in choose mode for that course, meaning that you can select the keys on the keyboard that you want to be part of that course. So typically, probably in your case, you will be using course 1 for those 24 on the fifth row, So you just go down the keyboard like this while it's in choose mode, and then when you're finished, you press the last key a second time. Then after you've done with that, when you're done with that, then you just go to course number 2 and do that choose using key group. And then you can start selecting all the others. I think you probably just want one other course for all your chords. Then you'll be able to use a polyphony modifiers, I suppose, in the finger to use the coordinates with a course number, course 2 to become the polyphony modifier, and course 1 to become the bass notes.
I was actually thinking of using the existing key group musical map and just typing up a fingering list for fingerwork.
You can do that. Yeah.
I mean, then I don't have to really change anything. No, and also it should be something I can give to people.
True. Yes.
Yeah.
I'm probably, how do you say this, something you do when you're in a job and you're constantly thinking about now repositioning, because I've been working on the keyboard position so much. It's become a force of habit, and I really like actually the fact that instead of having to, like you said, figure out what the position is based on another layout, basically laying out the things how they would be natural, and then whenever you have to work on it, you instantly know what the coordinate is going to be, because it's a natural layout.
Well, the first thing I came to understand after the conversation with John last week, so I was getting all excited, and then when we all got off, I thought, you know what, I only have 2 hands. So I could use the binary keying to get the notes, and then use the other hand to get the chord.
Yeah.
But there's no big advantage except efficiency of motion to doing that, or just laying out, say, 20 notes and maybe an offset if you need an octave either side. But really, you don't need more than 20 notes for your tonics, for your root notes.
But you'd be quicker moving between the binary fingering than you would be trying to,
Yes.
Yeah, so you could set up 2 sets of 4. You get 16 notes in each set, which is plenty, right?
Yeah.
Well, you'd be quicker if you could remember the patterns in your head.
That's practice.
Yeah, I know.
It takes a lot of practice to remember patterns. I'm still every day working on the scales of my custom layout. I did a year and a half ago. So, got to be sure that you pick the right one before you start memorizing it.
Yeah, the real bit. So, I've come at it from the standpoint of playing songs, and then sort of the patterns follow. I really should play scales, I guess. But I'm now going back and relearning songs that I built in, say, D major in chromatic, and that's actually harder than learning the song in the first place, because you've completely learned it and you know how to play it, but now all the notes are in a different place.
Yes, it's a lot of work. So that's why in the setup that I built for myself now, I decided to just stick to two basic layouts, and that's it. Because I know that I will be learning those for the foreseeable future, quite a few years.
Yeah.
Yes. So I haven't taken the time yet to hook up Super Looper to it, like I said last week or 2 weeks ago. Been mainly building out the functionalities of previous 1.4 setup so that I can use it at MusikMesse.
On a completely different thing, I'm finished my Hangout things. Do you want me to take the last one of yours, Geert, or the last couple of yours and do them?
Oh, if you don't mind, I would really.
Well, I don't mind. I have the time, and
okay,
you
awesome.
took the lion's share.
That'd be awesome. Yes. So I was thinking of doing so I did the first one of mine, so there's 2 and 3, 4, 5. I was thinking of doing 2 and 3 during my trip to Germany on the train, so if you want to get started.
Okay, well I'll just work from the other end. Okay. I'll do the last 2.
Okay, that's awesome. Thank you. Yeah.
Sure.
That's great.
Well, it's not like I can code, but I can do that.
I think those things are very helpful for people, I think. It's a lot of people seem to enjoy watching them afterwards. So,
they've been kind of fun to go back and actually rewatch.
Yeah.
I did a minor tweak to my Hangouts setup based on a remark that I got on Twitter. Someone that actually knows hang drums a bit, and he said that he liked it a lot, but he missed there's apparently fine detune when you play the hang drum. The fact that you hit the metal kind of detunes it, and so I put that in.
Can't hear it.
Can't hear it?
No. Couldn't hear it before either.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah, we just smiled and said,
you guys are horrible.
Well, it didn't seem worth upsetting you.
It's not more horrible than that.
Why isn't it coming through? It's coming through there. Oh, God.
Everything broken down.
Okay, well, I'll have to debug that a little bit. It's always so horrible when you change something. So I can hear this. Lost. So it's going there. Oh, okay.
Nope, sorry.
No, okay. Okay, that's not it. That's master. Going to master.
There you go.
Yeah? So this is very, very faint. It does seem to make a difference, because when I turn it off now, even though I really liked it before, when I turn it off now, it sounds lifeless.
So what did you have to do?
It's basic pitch bend, but I did create I don't know how many instances, but I think at least 4 or 6 instances of that contact thing. That's the crystal. That's the other one. There it is. Oh no, 8. So let me show that. Yeah. The bird agrees with me that 8 is a lot. So basically, this is a multi in Contact that has the same instrument set up each time, but listening to another MIDI channel. So the first one is listening to MIDI channel 1. The second one is listening to MIDI channel 2. The third one is listening to MIDI channel 3, right, and so on. Meaning that if you use this screen share again, where is that? Okay, can't see that. Yeah, my bird is really going on there. Apparently I can't share this window, but if you go to the routing matrix settings and then have the pitch bend turned on and the active MIDI channel set to poly, then using 1 to 8 will be sent automatically to the individual channel here. And it seems that 8 is quite enough for a hang drum, given that you normally have to only play it with 2 hands. So you you can like have these trills going on, but they usually just alternate.
Okay, so you got.
And the pitch bend is actually very, very little. I think it's only half a note in total, so a quarter of a note up and down maximum.
Mm-hmm.
So it seemed more didn't seem to work very well.
Made it sound a lot better.
Yes, I'm happy with that. Yeah. And it's quite interesting that it actually also still works on my laptop that's more than 3 years old, about 3 years old, even though it's playing eight individual contact instruments in a multi.
Say, Geert.
Yeah.
When you're at Steinberg in Germany.
Yes.
Sorry, I have. You can hear me twice.
Sorry, I can hear you, yeah?
Yeah, you can hear me. They have a new Granuleator plugin. Can you take a peek at that?
I have it.
You have it?
Yeah, you want...
Okay.
Well, patch up, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not my kind of plugin, so I've got a difficult time having an opinion about it. If there's something that you want to know, I can go look for it and see... Oh, I can try pulling it up now if you want to have a look at that. Let's see. We'll have to change MIDI channel here. MIDI converter. No, MIDI output. Yeah, Cubase is checking all my plugins.
Okay.
Actually, not sure if you can use it as a VST. Let me see if it's there.
You should actually be there.
Steinberg.
If I read the description right.
I think it's only VST3 probably.
Okay.
Because I can't see it being shown. I can see Halion 4. Let me just look at the command line, see if I can find something about that.
No, it just would interest me if it's somehow usable with Eigenharp.
So directly hosted without going over MIDI, right? That's what you're interested in.
Yes, a VST plugin probably best.
I can see it in VST3. Let's see here. VST.
And I mean, not everything that sounds good on paper sounds good with the Eigenharp.
I know, yeah.
Or let's not say it doesn't sound good. It's not working well.
Mm-hmm. I wonder why that's gone now. Maybe in application support. That's the thing about VSTs. So sometimes they're like installed in location. You're like, why? Why did you put that there?
Yeah, we don't have to do that now. I mean,
I know, but I'm just looking. I think it's installed as a VST3, which sadly will have a hard time to support because Juice, the framework that we rely upon, doesn't support it yet, and they don't seem to be very motivated to get it there quite soon. So we probably might actually be adding that ourselves in the future. That's going to be quite a bit of work. It's strange, huh? Does their website say anything about it only being VST3? I think it kind of makes sense because it supports node expression. And node expression is only VST3. Patch up VST.
Yeah, VST3.
Yes.
Yeah.
So the only way,
print.
yeah, the only way to get that to work is actually, honestly, it's not possible at this time to get that to work even over MIDI. I've been talking with Steinberg because I was a bit surprised that they hadn't improved their support for note expression Cubase in the recent release. So what happens is you can set up one voice per MIDI channel, as we've been using inside EigenD for multi-timbral support. You can use that to record per note expression over 16 MIDI channels, and it will do that correctly. It will write it down correctly. However, it doesn't have a way of, in real time, transforming that into VST note expression parameters. So what you can do, so you can only drive a plugin with that in the same way as in the same fashion as the information arrives. So the plugin will receive it also as one MIDI channel per note, right? While if you want to leverage note expression, which is only uses one MIDI channel and has for each note additional VST control parameters are being controlled, then you actually need some kind of conversion. Right. So what you can do is record it and then play it back and make the conversion after the fact. So that's something you can do. But they don't have the possibility to do that in real time. So there's like this link that's missing. Which is a shame, because it would actually open up note expression to a whole bunch of other instruments. So I'm talking with them about that, seeing if it's not something they can add in a future release. Because it would
Thanks
be
for
really
looking.
useful. Sure. But it looks quite impressive, patch ups. That's why I haven't actually delved into it yet, because it would probably take quite a bit of time.
Yeah, it would just interest me what they do with it and how it's, what you can do with it. And I mean, it's hard to say this. I mean, the page is naturally full of automotive and how cool it is, but how cool it is also depends on how usable it is.
Definitely, yes. Yep. Yeah, I think for that to actually, I think eventually it might be very, very nice on the Eigenharp, but we will probably have to support VST3 for that to be really useful.
Yeah.
So it actually frustrates. The reason why I can reply to this immediately is because it frustrated me a week ago, and I started actually a little bit like what I did this weekend. I want the slides to work. Let's get the slides to work. So I did that this weekend.
Yeah.
The last weekend I was like, what? I want note expression to work. Let's just sit down and do this. And I started doing it, and then I was like, oh, but I will have to spend weeks just adding that to the Juice framework, because they actually don't even scan the VST3 components. They just don't host them at all. They're just invisible. So that's a little bit more work than just a couple of hours in the weekend.
Okay. So you'll have to wait.
Yes. It will be sometimes in the future.
Or do it ourselves.
Or do it yourselves. And actually, Jules is asking people on the forums, on his forums, if they don't want to start it off. So if you want to contribute there, would be a great place.
If I need a new job, aside from the 6 I have already, I will go and. No, it's today I have this event I co-host with a guy, and the whole day was preparing the stuff for that. That's why I'm slightly distracted today.
Sure.
So, yeah.
So I'm still showing tweets on my Eigenharp. It's still working. I've been keeping it running. This is funny because I've been setting it down. So we've got our dinner table over there, Right? I've been putting it down on the dinner table and then standing all the way, through the house, the other way here, the end of the room, looking over the rest, looking at the dinner table with the Eigenharp Alpha lying down to see is this usable or not, and actually becomes usable as soon as you step away from it. And then we were watching.
Yeah, that's great fun.
Yeah, we were watching it with the whole family. The 4 of us were watching it. No, that letter doesn't read right. You have to change something there. And then I was like bit fiddling and did a pixel here and a pixel there. And
so your next job is to get it to scroll vertically.
Well, that's actually very easy to do. It allows a whole bunch of modifiers already.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Some things that I'd like to add personally, but I have to think about the best way of doing that. Scrolling vertically is very easy. The problem there is going to be, there's 2 ways of vertical, right? Vertical as if it would be credits, that's going to be very easy because it uses the same characters. So meaning vertical as if it goes across the 5, right? Another thing is vertical if the Eigenharp is standing up. I suppose that's the one you were talking about.
That's the one I meant.
Yes. I'm not sure if I need to redesign the characters for that. I'll have to look, because I think there are some characters that are wider than 5. And that are not really working well with less, and I'll have to look at it. One that's wider for sure is the tilde. I couldn't get that to be readable in less than. Well, I'll have a look at that. It's the only thing that that is kind of holding that back. What I was actually thinking of doing, because it already supports color modifiers and spacing modifiers that you can kind of inject into the text to give it hints, saying I want to color the next character in that color, and I want to inject that amount of space. I was gonna add some behavior modifiers in there also, so that as soon as it hits a certain point in your text, that it would kind of give a cue that changes the way that the text is being scrolled or directed. So it could kind of show a word, pause for 2 seconds, and then start scrolling vertically, and then scroll to the left again, and stuff like that. Or flip it, blink it, show rotate lights, or a whole bunch of things that you can do like that. Which could be fun, just fun to experiment with. It's easy stuff to code, and it's like instant gratification. Oh, I changed this little thing, and I try it out, and I see it.
You may want to look at cross-stitch alphabets. They have the same problem.
What? What is that?
Cross-stitching.
Cross-stitching?
Oh yeah. Yeah, there is this old American tradition of cross-stitching your samplers.
Oh, right.
And they use alphabets for that, and they have tons of alphabets which work as cross-stitch, which is actually the same.
But 5 by 5 is very small, you know?
Yeah.
And I got all the ASCII characters in there. It did take quite a while. The only ones that I'm not really happy about is the curly braces. They're not really easy to read. Yeah, tilde seems to be the problem here. It's wider than 5. It seems the rest is okay. Yeah, the rest seems to be okay. So that would be able. The vertical would be actually easy apart from doing tilde. Then it will be chopped off. Well, so be it.
Yeah, maybe you can make a tilde with one down, one up.
Yeah, I tried that, but it doesn't look like a tilde. If you look at it from afar, it looks like a zigzag, and you don't read it. You don't read it as a tilde, which is the problem. You can get away with it's interesting because you can get away with a lot of tricks to kind of suggest round edges and stuff like that. Things that you don't think would work well. If you see them on, if you start putting them on screen, but then you look at the alpha and it works right because the spacings are a bit larger. So that's also, that's something that's going to change probably because if you look at it horizontally, the distance is wider the horizontal distance is longer than the vertical distance, while if you rotate it, it will be the other way around. So I'm not sure if they're all gonna work as well. I'll try that.
Yeah, maybe you can also look. There is also for knitting, where there is the same problem. There are also alphabets for that.
That's a good idea. I'll have a look at that.
And there is also a paper especially made for knitting, and I probably already has the right proportions, length and width, something like that. Yeah.
Yes. I'll have a look at that. That being said, I've got the whole ASCII table done now, so it's gonna. I'm not going into Unicode. If someone else wants to do that.
Well, but we need acrylic.
Yeah, I need dots on my A's, U's, and O's.
I know.
Yeah,
yes.
I would have thought you'd have some accents in Belgium.
Well, this is not targeted at a Belgian audience.
I mean, the dots of German should be easy, but the CCD of French, how do you do that?
I have no idea how I do that. Probably, we'll have...
Not 5x5.
I think you should be able to do it, but it will be horrible to read.
Not worth the effort.
But it was a fun experience, though. It's how do you show something in so little space, and then how do you prototype it? I think that it could actually work in 5x5. We should do something. I'll have to try this out, but CCD would kind of stand out because it would be a smaller letter than the rest. But I suppose it's something like you can't see the spaces. Something like this. What are we doing? Something like this could probably work. It's like a small C with. But it is fun if you look at all those characters. And you see if I can share that.
Quick question on the Illuminator, Geert. I was just reading the wiki page. I ought to be able to then wire the Illuminator's light output into my keyboard's light input and go to the commander and say Illuminator 1, listen, musical... what did I have type? Musical is red, choose, and then hit keys on the keyboard. Is that?
Yes.
Okay. Wasn't working, but I'm sure I'm doing something. Does the keyboard need to be listening as well, or a key group?
You probably have to connect the key output to the key input before you're able to press keys.
I'll try that.
So, I'm gonna sign off soon. Because I was supposed
it's been a good long one today.
I was supposed to work for the MusikMesse this weekend, but I got sucked into lights instead of preparing.
Yeah,
you can scroll the Eigenharp's URL as you're demoing.
Yeah, I'm sure on MusikMesse this will be the hit.
Well, I thought it was cool to show, so that's why there's something special to. I hope to have network connectivity and to actually hook it up to Twitter, and then I hope that some of you guys will be there to send some interesting, non-prophanic messages.
We will, but maybe you can also make a little firework or something.
Yes, I probably won't have time for that. If you feel like creating the bitmaps for it, I'll credit you and I'll put them on. I will probably not have time to draw that out.
Yeah, I can look if I find time. Maybe I can. I have done stuff like this for knitting and cross-stitching for a whole long of time. That's why I know that there are alphabets.
Yeah. So yes, using that HTTP access makes it very, very easy to get stuff in there. So see if I've still got it in there.
I have to look at the new stuff anyway. Didn't get there in weekends.
So you can I think I put some docs in Git because this is not in the last release. It's committed on Saturday. So my network is going.
It's in the contribute, isn't it?
Yeah, in the contribute, that's the scroller script. But then there's a new version of Illuminator in the EigenD 2.0 repository, which has the HTTP server and whatnot.
Yeah, it was just what I was missing was the connection of key output to key input.
Well, yeah, if you don't have that, it doesn't know which key you press.
Okay. Yeah.
Let me just. See. So you can do stuff like that, for example. You know, this is gonna maybe be weird. Hello, are you guys still there?
Yeah.
My whole screen froze.
Hello, Geert. Hi.
Hi, Siddharth. I think my browser is crashing. Everything is frozen. Oh, can't even. That sucks. Okay, well, I'm gonna reconnect.